Yo, what's up? So there was a patch yesterday, and they didn't really change too much, like build-wise. They didn't nerf anything or buff anything. They did do a lot of quality of life changes that are really nice. Like they added the ability to change your runes and soul cores in your weapons and armor. So I did put elemental damage runes in my bow instead of iron runes, and it actually gave me like 1,000 DPS increase. And then I also got a Netzeries Disdain, and I swapped from Evasion to ES. And this helmet's like pretty insane. It gives me 1300 ES. The only thing I don't like about it is there's really no resist, there's no stats, there's no, it has a little bit of rarity, but not too much. So I will probably end up getting a rare helmet soon, because it is kind of hard to cap your resist and still push like rarity and stuff with this helmet, especially when you're using a headhunter and not a ingenuity. But it's a very good option to use, very strong. I swapped to ES boots. I do want to corrupt these and try to get a second socket to put another rarity soul core in it. I'm using a Volant quiver now. I've spec'd into feathered fletching, and the arrow speed actually gets buffed, just the same as projectile speed. So this is a really good quiver. I wish it had a higher dex and attack speed on it, but I can upgrade that later. We're using flat damage on the rings, rarity, life. This ring's pretty good. Double flat damage, life, rarity, resist. Using an energy shield spirit amulet, I have the Doomsayer anoint. It's like really good for clear speed. It makes my Herald of Ice 3.4 meters. Using Hand of Wisdom in action, these gloves are insane. Just gives you so much damage and attack speed. Obviously using a headhunter, I do run breach. I think this is probably like the best belt for breach. Ingenuity is good, but this just like makes your clear speed way faster. If you are struggling to cap your resist, Ingenuity would probably be better for you because it would give you more resist from your rings. I'm using Old Ross Flask. This thing's insane for survivability. I am using a Temporalis. They did like a change with it, and they said they like reduced the cooldown, but the blink is still instant, so it's still like really good for clear speed. Probably the best clear speed chest in the game. But if you can't afford that, you can get a energy shield based like rare chest. You can get one with spirit too, so you don't need spirit on your amulet. It'll be a little easier to cap your resist that way too. Another thing, I do have Thief's Torment for when I do like the Uber Pinnacle bosses, but other than that, it kind of just sits in my inventory. But it is really nice to have. For my jewels, I'm using an Against the Darkness. This is like really important. It's not like 100% needed. Like you can still freeze and proc your heralds if you have enough cold damage on like your rings and your bow and quiver and stuff. But this thing just like makes the build feel so much better. You don't need as much cold damage. It frees up passive slots. Like if you're having a hard time freezing, you'll need pressure points, and then you'd probably have to drop this, so you'd lose a little bit of damage to get pressure points to help with freezing. But with the Against the Darkness, I don't struggle with freezing at all, even in like some maps that have monster resistances. And then for my jewels, I'm using 10-15% quiver bonus jewels. I'm at a 230% bonus like total, which is very important for your quiver. Like if you have a good quiver, the +2 projectiles, every 50% quiver bonus gives you +1 to your projectile skills. So my lightning arrow, my lightning rod, which is about 5% damage per level. And I have a level 20 lightning arrow, and I have 6 levels added to it. So that's like a lot of damage. That's an important thing to look out for, is making sure you're hitting the 50% breakpoints. And if you can't really afford like a good rare bow, you can buy a Widow Hail, and then the percent of your Widow Hail depends on like how many jewels you have, what percents they are. So every 50% would be a breakpoint, and I think if you're using Widow Hail with a couple of jewels, I think you could use 2 jewels and then like a 240 something Widow Hail, as long as you're hitting a 350% total. So you'd want, this is 80, and then you would have like a little bit from your jewels and then how much ever from your widow hail to equal up to 350 total. That'll pretty much outperform any bow that's like 20 to like 30 div, like even some 40 div rare bows. And I mean that'll like save you a lot of money. You can also get widow hails with a +1 arrow enchant. So those are really good. Widow hails are actually pretty insane for like budget. As you can see, my skill tree is kind of all over the place. It's pretty much just like for the clear speed, I have a bunch of energy shield, a little bit of damage, AoE, Doomsayer, some more movement speed. That's about it for the tree. If you don't have as many jewels and you're going Widow Hail, you can probably drop a bunch of the stuff up here and save points, and then you can come down here and get a little bit more damage. Evasion if you're going evasion, get a little damage here. You can even get some of the nodes up here that'll buff your against the darkness. There's just like a lot of variations to Deadeye that you can play. The Heralds like pretty much just carry the clear speed, so it gives you like so many choices to do something. Over the gem links, using Lightning Arrow, Martial Tempo, Primal Armament, Ice Bite, Heft, and Inspiration. Using Lightning Rod for my single target, we have Scatter Shot, Conk Effect, Lightning Pin, Close Combat, Rising Tempest. And we're still using the Herald tech where the Herald of Thunder freezes and the Herald of Ice shocks. So the Herald of Thunder, we're using Cold Infusion, Glaciation, Long Shot, Lightning Mastery, Cold Pen. For Herald of Ice, we're using Lightning Infusion, Conduction, Magnified Effect, Overcharge, and Innervate. And then our Orb of Storms, we are using Chain, Persistence, Unleash, Overabundance, Font of Rage. And we're using Blink because we have Temporalis, Arcane Tempo, and Ingenuity. Obviously, if you're not using a Temporalis, you don't have to use Blink. You can use like a different aura that you want. You could use like Wind Dancer if you have a little bit of evasion. There's a few different things you can use. And then we do have Cast on Shock, so when we're doing a boss, I'll turn off Blink, I'll turn on Cast on Shock, with Ball of Lightning, Deceleration, Impetuous, Energy Retention, and I am ES base, so I'm using Grim Feast. If you do have some leftover spirit, you can use Cannibalism to give you a little bit of life on kill. I know a lot of people, if they have a really high level lightning arrow, they struggle with sustain, so they kind of put all their stuff into bow shot. I tried it a little bit. I really don't like using bow shot. I honestly don't know how people can use it. I kind of hate that skill. But I mean, that's pretty much it for the gear. I did have 2 charm slots, but I kind of got rid of one. As you can see, I'm about to level 95. And then maybe I'll switch some things up, because having the freeze charm and the stun charm is nice, but right now I just have one or the other. That's pretty much it for the gear. If you guys have any questions or need help with your build, you could join my Discord, which will be linked in the description, or you can just ask in the comments section, either one. Like, I try to answer everybody as quick as possible. Obviously, joining the Discord and like posting in the Discord or DMing me, you'd get a response a little bit faster. But you can feel free to ask in the comments too if you need any help. And